And welcome back to the second in our series of the Toy Biz Marvel Superheroes line. We're looking at Wave 2 now from 1991, just a year later. The line started gaining some steam here. There was a little bit of a redesign in the package. I'll use Punisher as an example here. So you can see him with that traditional package from the first wave of the Marvel Superheroes logo, nice and big on there, and they swapped it out for a individual character logo now, featuring the Punisher with a smaller version of Marvel Superheroes. They did that with all the figures. You could see Spider-Man has his own logo. You could see Thor has his own logo. Iron Man has his own logo. Even Venom has his own logo. Everyone has their own logo now on the cards. It just makes the figures pop a little bit more, I think. And you see here on the back, they changed up a little bit from showing off the other characters in the line to focusing on each individual character and the action that that figure has. This was something that was unique just to this wave. I believe in subsequent waves, they went back to focusing on the individual character line, individual products themselves, so you could see all the different figures that are available, as well as the vehicles and everything. I mean, this did have play sets and stuff in the back, but it did not feature all the other characters. So you didn't know what was in this line, but we're going to show you. And it's all of these figures here. So this is 1991. These are all these figures. We get some Avengers now. We have a variety of Spider-Man characters with different features. We have some more Spider-Man villains and a new Punisher. And this is a new Punisher. This is not the same Punisher. We'll show you side by side with that previous Punisher. We're going to go over several different Punishers. I believe there's 4 in this line, and we're going to show you. A lot of people get confused with those. So we'll be showing you all those. Obviously, these Spider-Man characters are different than the first one, but we'll go into each character as we open them all up, brand new out of package, checking out how these figures were in their prime. All right, we're going to try a little different perspective for this video, and our first Spider-Man here is going to be the web shooting Spider-Man. And again, Toy Biz snuck in these little offers. They came in the form of these folded pamphlets this time instead of printed on the back of the card. So we have our web shooting Spider-Man. Again, comes with this soft, flexible, rubbery web here. And then we have a little bit of a different design for our Spider-Man. You recall the other one had suction cup hands. This one does not have suction cup hands, obviously. Has the same head, and I think the left hand is the same, just without the suction cup. This one, though, has this different arm here, and it has a firing mechanism. So we're just going to pop this guy in, and you can hear it snap, and there's a release button on the side here. And then, well, it should... There it goes. I mean, not a big fire. Let's see here if we get it a little bit further. Yeah, it's not a big firing mechanism. I don't know if it's just because the spring is worn or what, but it doesn't fire like it used to probably, or maybe it never fired very well. But that is the function, and it should fire and get a little bit of distance on it. We'll try wearing it and seeing if that helps the spring over time, but there's really no way to sort of fix that since it's internal to the figure. You just kind of have to deal with it. But ideally, in a perfect world, this would fire and you get a little distance out of it. But that is your web firing Spider-Man. Next up, we're going to take a look at Thor, the God of Thunder here. And Thor has this classic comic look. I really love this. He comes with a lightning bolt accessory, a little bit of tape on it. And he comes with, of course, Mjolnir. He's going to have his hammer. Now, Thor here, I believe, has a throwing action, and he should be able to chuck his hammer. We'll see if we get it to work. But here you go. You have your Thor, and has that classic look. Does not have a cape, which is a little disappointing. But, I mean, we couldn't expect too much of accessorizing here. Again, they have the knees, which is some articulation there, and then the arm and the head could turn a little bit, but I don't want to stress too much on these knees because they're kind of rigid and I'm afraid they're snap. But here we go. We'll stick the hammer in here, so it just kind of fits in, and the arm comes back, and we'll see if we get it to oh, I have my finger in the way. We'll see if we can get it to launch. And yep, that one launched. So we got a good hammer throw action, which is awesome. We'll see if we can take it back from here. Yeah, the hammer does launch. I guess he could also throw this lightning. We'll try fitting that into his hand as well. It's a little bit tighter than the hammer, so maybe, maybe not. Yeah, I don't feel like he's going to. I guess he will, just because it's so tight. But that is your Thor. So we have a one Avenger character so far in the line, and we'll have more. We had, well, I'm sorry, we had Hulk in the first wave, so we have some more Avengers, not the only Avengers characters in this line. Speaking of, oh, I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself. We're gonna have Venom now. So we have Big Venom here. There's a couple different Venoms in the series. I want to say there's 4 altogether, and we'll go over each of those. But we have this Venom here, and he comes with this little ooze. I do not know if this is still good after 30 years. I'm not going to put it in him because I'm afraid it will just gunk up the figure. But let's see if it's as good after 30 years, if this stuff still works. I imagine probably not, only because it's been in here. Although it's been sealed, I don't know if it's completely dried up or not. It still looks kind of gooey, honestly, but it's not liquid, so it actually does still look like slime. It's just really gunky, and I think it's going to ruin the toy if we use it. It's ruining my figures already, or my fingers. But it came in this little bottle here, and you're going to, you would put it inside the character, and then he would have a little plunger here, essentially, to make him spit it out the front. It would come out here, and you'd be able to spray it on your victims. He'd have the bending knee still. So this is big Venom. There's going to be a smaller Venom we'll see in other waves, but that is basically your Venom character. I'm not sure how this back came out. I think it just kind of pulled or released or something, or maybe you just pushed this in. I'm not really sure, but this did come out, and you were able to load them up. Oh, there it goes. It does pull out the plug. So this, you just load it up with the gel, push this in here, and as you slowly press it, it would squirt out to the front here. So you could use water probably too. Anything is better than this. Like I said, this is not holding up well after 30 years. You could make a gel and put it in there, and it would work just as well. But that is essentially this function for Venom. So after Venom here, we'll take a look at another Avenger, and we are going to have Mr. Stark, Iron Man. Interesting character. He got his own show from Toy Biz, or I'm sorry, he got his own line from Toy Biz to follow the show shortly after this that went in tandem with the Fantastic Four show. But this was the first character. Those character figures were much better. Beefier characters, had all the armor, had shiny components to them, had a much more expanded product line, included the villains, included some other characters. But essentially this reminds me of, I can't remember if it was Toy Biz or Kenner Batman from Batman Returns. You got the costume and you just kind of built it on top of the figure. And that's what this figure reminds me of too. Except his base layer, instead of having like a t-shirt where you put the Batman cowl over, is it's just him topless. If I get this to open up, I'll show you what I mean. But yeah, he basically is not wearing like a t-shirt or anything in here. He's, well, I can't really get it off. Here we go. There we go. He's just topless underneath. So I guess this could be, wow, tough to take off the head, Beach Tony, and then he gets dressed at the beach to become Iron Man, wearing yellow Speedos or something like that. But essentially the way this worked is you were supposed to be able to pop the armor on, put on his helmet, and then put on the leg gauntlets, and put on the arm gauntlets, and have your full Armor Man or Iron Man suited up. But he is a little problematic to get there. Yeah, why don't we do a quick cut and I'll have them all dressed up for you. All right, now we get our Iron Man back together. The trick is to sort of get your finger in the groove to separate these. But you can see him with all his parts on here now. Still has those flexible knees, rather. I put the gauntlet snaps on the inside so it looks more pristine on the outside here. And then the boots, there's sort of a groove here that goes to the outside. It's painted on the back of the card, but it's not on the figure here. But this is your Iron Man. Not a bad Iron Man for the time. Pretty cool. They already captured the face there. And that's really all he has. He doesn't have any other function or feature, just the ability to get dressed, which, you know, is difficult for some of us. Next up, we have the Green Goblin. So we're expanding our bad guys in here, particularly our Spider-Man bad guys. Fun looking figure. He's got the pointy shoes on there. He's got this nice green skin. He has a fun feature here. If I get him to stand, he's got like a little bit of a crooked foot. Maybe it's just the way he was in the package there. He has his Goblin glider, of course, which we need to have. And he has a pumpkin bomb that comes with him as well. Spider-Man, you know, got his own line shortly after when he got his own show launching in the 90s. So they had Green Goblin, they had Spider-Man, they had all sorts of other characters in that series. A lot of them are coming back on those old school style hardbacks in the Marvel Legends line. You might have seen the recent announcements. So here we go on his Goblin glider. You're going to have to hold it. This is not going to balance this way. And he has a pumpkin that you could just kind of put in his hand. There's no way for him to grip it, so you just kind of have to hold it here and have him throw it. But he does have a throwing arm, as you can see there. But he will not grip the pumpkin. It would have been nice if they put a little hole in it and then a peg on his hand so he could hold it, and then it'd be easier to launch that. But you kind of have to hold it when you're pulling back his hand, like so, and then just let it go all together as one and let him launch it that way. And there it goes. He has a fist on the other hand, and you can see that's basically the rest of his design here with his Goblin glider. And he does have those peg holes, so he could stand on that at least. But not a bad looking figure. I kind of like how this one came out. So adding to that Spider-Man list of villains we got there. Next up, we have the Punisher, a new Punisher in this line. And what makes him new is, you could tell here, the original Punisher didn't have this straps here. This one has a backpack. He does not have the snapback that we had in the previous Punisher from the first wave. So that's the big difference. Other than that, he still has his punch arm and his weapon holding hand. So he still has the same design here, and he still has the same weapons. He still has that assault rifle that we showed you last time. He still has that Thompson's machine gun or Chicago typewriter or whatever it's called. He has that Uzi, and he has his Desert Eagle. So the same 4 weapons are consistent with Punisher throughout all the versions. I'll put the Uzi in here. So what this Punisher does is, instead of needing the caps to make the sound, which got messy and involved, you just have this backpack that makes the sound now. So you just turn it, and that's it. Let's see if we get it. So there we go. That's his real machine gun sound. See if you could hear that. There we go. It doesn't last very long. You'd really have to wind the figure up. I'll see how many winds I can get on him. Yeah, so he makes his little machine gun sound. He's got the gray straps, which makes sense because he's wearing that backpack. So this is a newly tooled Punisher, a little bit narrower than the other one because it doesn't have that other one, the backpack sticking out. But same pretty much design, same mold for the rest of the body, just the backpack part has changed, which they probably used the same figure. You can see there's a gap here between the two, so they probably just removed the other component and retrofitted him with this one and got it to fit. Although these straps here make it look like this is a newly tooled body on top, because these aren't painted on, these are raised. So I bet that torso is newly tooled, but it still works pretty much the same as the other one, except you don't need the caps anymore. It will just make the noise for you. So it's a welcome addition to the line here, this new Punisher. And last but not least, we have a second Spider-Man in this line. This is web crawling, I believe, or yeah, real web climbing action Spider-Man. It has a suction cup here, and this is 1 point for you to attach him to. And then the second point is, I believe, pulls out of his chest. You take this part, you stretch it out, and he slowly climbs, and it pulls him back toward his, slowly pulls him up toward his second point there. So I will show you guys this in just a second. I'll take out a little building or something for him to climb. It's hard to show in this close-up view because I want you to be able to see the character, but that pulls out of his chest, and that's what that does. As far as the hands go, this looks like this is pretty much the web suction cup hands Spider-Man, and all they did is remove the suction cups. So they kind of kept that design the same, and you can see the face there. The back got a little worn. I'm not sure why. It was in the package. Maybe over time it just wears into the plastic and wears out. Some of the paint down here is starting to fade too, but he's brand new out of package. But this is basically him. Again, it's that same design. They just make some minor tweaks like we showed you here. Look at the hands. Again, the same hand here for the web firing Spider-Man. They just kind of made a minor tweak to this arm. So they're keeping that same mold and they're really getting their use out of it. Although this body is different, obviously, because we got that piece coming out of the torso. So that is your look at this this second wave of Marvel superheroes. Let's get him off the side of a building so you guys can see that now. And here is our Spider-Man. We're going to have him climb up our IKEA display cabinet instead of a building because he needs to suction onto a surface. So we took the little central line and we shoved it through his suction cup accessory that he comes with. And we're going to show you pulling him down here right now. You only want to take him about 6 to 8 inches for his little cobweb to come out. You can see it right there. Otherwise that will snap. that is on. You can see the detailing on the cobweb. That is a central coil that is in his chest that it's wrapped around, that is causing him to pull up. And if you pull that out too far, being 30 plus years old, it will break. We've done this before with other wall crawling Spider-Man that we've had. So we are experienced, take our word on this. Don't pull it too far. Give yourself 6 to 7 inches at the most to be safe. Otherwise it will tear, and then that won't be able to go back inside of him. There's no way to fix him. But that is essentially how web crawling, or I'm sorry, real web climbing action Spider-Man works. And that's our look at the Wave 2 of the Marvel Superheroes line. Some changes here. We got individual names now. Instead of going back to the line, everyone has their own branding. We got more of the most popular characters, so Spider-Man, Spider-Man villains. We got some more of the Avengers in here with Iron Man and Thor. We got Punisher again with his own built-in sound mechanic this time. We have characters that throw things. We have characters that do climbing, characters that spit things, characters with a sound, characters that could change, like all sorts of different things going on in the second wave. As we get into Wave 3, it gets even more expansive with the biggest wave yet in Wave 3. A lot more characters pulling from different Marvel comics. It's going to be another great wave coming up. I mean, we got everything working here, except Spider-Man was a little disappointing. He really didn't launch like he is intended to. For some reason, you'd put, oh, it's finally working. Before he was only going a little bit out, but I guess over time you get that spring. There it goes. Now it's not working again. You get that spring and it just doesn't, you know, it needs a little bit of play before it has some give to it and finally starts to work. But it's great seeing these 30 plus characters, 30 years plus, being able to still work. These were all preserved in package, as you saw, so they're, you know, operating their prime. This web crawling Spider-Man, very hard to find that out in the wild loose that still works, because these break. Like I said, if you stretch it out too much, it's going to snap and you are done. You cannot recoil that unless you like tear the figure apart and reglue it back together, which is probably going to break the figure apart. But I think the max is probably 10 inches, but I recommend staying at 6 to 7, because if you go too far, you're going to stretch it, snap it, and then you're done. You know, we've done that before, so I'm speaking from experience. He's an awesome figure. I love the charm of it. Very limited. He's not going to be like you want as a kid to climb a building like that Ghostbusters firehouse from Kenner or anything like that. Can't climb that from bottom to top, but he can climb short distances, and I think it's pretty cool. It's a fun little gimmick. So this was a really fun line. I'm looking forward to what's coming next. We got everything. You see Spider-Man was actually in every single wave. There's a small caveat on that, and I'll show you why when we get to Wave 4, because they had intended to put him in it, but they changed him up a little bit, and we'll go through that, and I'll show you the evidence of that. But he was kind of designed to be in every single wave. He kind of carried the line. He was a very popular character, still one of the most popular characters in the Marvel Universe, and they knew he would sell, so you'll see him return multiple times, as well as supporting characters for Spider-Man. So that is all for this time. Of course, we have other videos coming up. It's a 7-part series, so we still got 5 more parts. We have the Toy Biz line we did for the Fantastic Four, Toy Biz for the Uncanny X-Men, and Toy Biz for the Evil Mutants line. So if you want to check all those out, those are all covered in our videos as well. Like, subscribe, and follow, and we'll see you guys next time.